believe this is what we can talk more and more on how to do. Before I get to this area, I want to share with you, I'm not sure most of you understand, know where I come from. My background is actually litigation. So I did litigation for like 7.5 years with Marando Mnyele and Company Advocate. I used to go to court 4 to 5 times a day. We were litigating left, right, and center. I would wake up, I would have 6 to 7 files that I'm running. I'll be running to Kisutu, to High Court, Land, High Court. You'll be busy. Pigana vikumbo na makarani kumwambia naomba nishikie hilo file nakimbia huku. And then in 2014, my partner that we co-founded Breakthrough Attorney and I came together and said we are starting a firm. I believe that we have the hardest work. I can tell you, boardrooms are crazy. Boardrooms are crazy. You have a judge, you have to convince, you have to read, you have to prepare. The judge perhaps doesn't even know the subject matter. You have to go and read. But room, you have a CEO that understands that industry for 30 years. You have a COO that also, COO, Chief Operating Officer, that understands that business, understands the people, understands everything. And then you have the craziest person I usually don't like to meet, CFOs, Chief Financial Officers. They're usually brilliant and they would understand everything. So now imagine you are there, you have crammed your Section 28. They have a Chief Legal Officer as well and Company Secretary who understands that law better than you. So now imagine you're supposed to impress them. So it's difficult, but you have to make a conscious decision to change, to grow, to say that this is an area that I'll go in, I will better myself, and I will speak their language. And again, I usually love to merge because it's a session that is together. You heard that the client does not come to you because you know law. The law is in English. They have a chief legal officer. They have a company secretary. They can read that law. They want a solution. So in terms of diversification, you need to understand that this is an area that I'm going into, and I want to be a part of this. And this is the only way that you can grow. So in a manner of speaking, I wanted to share my story so that you will understand that you can diversify. And right now, people relate me more as a corporate lawyer than litigation lawyer. So I diversified. And I will tell you one more thing that you can see in terms of the examples of where my litigation skills have made me a better corporate lawyer because I understand where most people go and fall, where they triple. So if you reverse engineer your strategy in terms of advisory, you understand what makes the other person ticks, what will make you better. If you fall, this contract will be better for you because this is how we can. So you start from the back to the end. So this is how you can diversify using your existing skills, using your one thing that you actually structured from the beginning as your core business and core competence. So where and how we can diversify. You have your core business. That is your driver. You must start from the core business. So let's do an example that you are a litigation person. We have kasumba ya kuamini kwamba kama ni litigation, kama vile iko rigid, kama inafanya tu hivyo, haiwezi kutoka hapo. But I'm going to give you an example. See the second area that you can diversify, training or consulting. I had one client that was complaining that a litigating firm kept on asking the same documents that they don't have for preparation of witnesses for a case. See? Every time they're asking for the same documents, and the answer comes the same. We don't have that. We don't have those documents. We don't have that. You see, introspection tells you there is an opportunity here. Train them how to keep those documents because you already know that document. So you're a litigant. You know this is how you're going to fail in court. And your client is going to fail. And your clients, if they're getting the same results of failing, they will think you're a bad lawyer. They will not think that they're not good at keeping documents. But for you, this is an opportunity to restructure the same thing, your own litigation, and say, guys, tukienda mahakamani huwa tunafeli hivi, but you can do here, here, here. And while in that case you might have charged milioni 10, in that training unaweza ukachaji shilingi milioni 5 for 1 day, and case milioni 10 for 2-3 years. So diversification can be as simple as that, just repackaging the same service that you are actually doing. I'm going to give you an example. Anybody knows PwC? PricewaterhouseCoopers. Thank you. PwC is currently doing many trainings on the data privacy and protection, and it's a legal discipline, right? Yeah? PwC is actually making the most of it. The most of it to the extent I want to annoy you right now and anger you so much. PwC last year made $1.24 billion from new areas of technology in consulting. $1.2 billion for consulting in areas of AI, data privacy, and cybersecurity. All these are legal discipline to begin with. They're ours, but it's PwC that is making money. Out of that 1.2 billion, 880 million is coming from trainings. Trainings. Even to just them, hey, come here, them, hey, let's train you. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, thank you. So it's not even something new. It's everything that we have within us. We can do there. Consulting. You see feasibility studies, tenders being announced everywhere. Every feasibility study has a legal aspect. So we are experts here. Some of us are legal managers, water. Some of us are legal in agriculture. But all those feasibility studies in our areas, they need legal. There is a legal report. There is a report, pre-feasibility, feasibility. There is a part of us there. We should not only look at one thing, at what we are doing, but what we are doing, we package it similarly and move. Department, sub-department from the commercial practices that does data processing. There's an existing client actually sent an email. Need this compliant. So I have one review. Price. It's like $500. So we're about to sign. And the new expert, whether the most also spoke, that get to meet people. So the experts that we got on the prices said, we talk. Say, hey, go ahead. You know, opened that assignment around sign of 1,000, and we were to the client. Because it's you XETs already have, but then from point rank. not something you have. This is also a blame that most of us say. We pick on anything that comes to on desk. Most of us feel guilty of having a website that we doing everything including expertise. Yes. I'm gonna do but I to so because you root and they will not wrong. So that also can also is averaging options. You are the new department, let's say pray. See. Issues of referrals, you should join networks. There are chambers of commerce, international legal networks. You can diversify through that because when you're going there, you're also learning. You're also developing, and that's what you get. Another way of diversifying is departmentalization, branching, product packaging. You can automate these new areas of new areas. To use the same people. I'm not saying that they're not good. Sometimes institutional knowledge is good, but most of the time it's because of emotions that we want to keep the people that have been there. But you need to be conscious enough of understanding that the people that you have are not enough for the shoes that they're wearing. And when you are diversifying, one thing is clear, because you are putting money, you are putting time. You need to make sure that this is what you need to do. I'm going to give you an example. Imagine a telco is diversifying to say it was only in Tanzania, but now it's going to Kenya and Uganda. That we know loves the company, has been there for a while, but does that person understand Kenya? Does that person understand Uganda? So if you're diversifying, that's what you need to think about. The area we are diversifying is the person I'm putting in charge of this, knowledgeable in that area. Not just the emotion that this person loves the company, because that perhaps is not what it is. I'm finishing, boss. Avoid over-diversification. Go by time. So don't go too quickly. Go stage by stage if you can. And because it will, if you don't do this, it will offend the idea that you build from strength. If you over-diversify, so you have so many areas that you are not strong into and you're struggling to actually keep all of them afloat. Then there must be a clear resource allocation. Don't just diversify while resources are in between lines. There will be a lot of confusion and overlapping of roles as well as resources. And then only invest and capitalize on your strength. I've already spoken of this. And then one thing that most people don't usually understand. We in project management, we say embrace your failures early on. Most of the time, we don't accept that we have failed. So we keep on doing the one thing that is actually hurting our business just because of our ego or hope that it will turn around. So assessment that we've been talking about from the morning is very important for you to say, we have failed. How do we change? Because if you embrace failure, that's when you can actually carve out or change your strategy so that you can actually do better. But most of us usually stay long in the failing trajectory, and we end up struggling. So, yeah, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to some deliberations.
Ka practice ketu mpaka aketi. Yaani mpaka hapo jamani. Hata tukisema tumemaliza, si tumemaliza. Manondo haya tulioyapata, tukisema okay, we are done with the session, we go home, it's okay. Isn't it? Thank you so much, Harry. That was also very rich. And we are being reminded to diversify because law itself is not enough at this particular moment in time. Kwa sababu mambo yamekuwa ni mengi sana na technology sasa hivi hadi mahakama ina embrace. Kwa hiyo hatuna ujanja, yani tutake tusitake, we have no choice, we have to. And the best part now at least now we are also learning, we are getting more information on how to go about it. So somehow, thank you to TLS, and we are learning, we are getting this knowledge. Si ndio jamani? Tuwapigie makofi TLS. Hata kama ni haki yetu kama wanachama. Sasa baada ya hapo, Secretariat, naomba tulete viti hapa juu kidogo ili presenters waje. Nakaribisha maswali raundi ya kwanza, maswali 5, si ndio? Naomba preambles, Secretariat na mwenye wanaotembeza mic naomba muwe tayari. Naomba to avoid preambles. Preambles kwa sisi wa Tanzania, naongea Kiswahili kwa msisitizo. Preambles kwa sisi wa Tanzania zinatupotezea muda sana. So please go straight to the question. Kama lengo lako ni kuuliza swali. Yaani usianze kutoa background, sio nini. Nenda kwenye swali. Wataelewa, na kama mmeona presenters wetu wanauelewa wa kutosha. Secondly, kama unataka kutoa comment au kutoa any feedback, please go to the point. Yaani usilete story nyingi, tushapata lecture tayari tumeshapigwa. Kwa hiyo na wewe usitupige tena lecture. Wewe tupe tu ka summary, Si ndio jamani? Aha, sasa baada ya hapo kwa raundi ya kwanza napokea maswali 5. Au tutakuwa tuna raundi moja. We pick questions mpaka tutakapoishia, alafu watajibu maswali. Kwa hiyo tutafanya hiyo raundi moja tu ya maswali na hizo comments. Zikiisha, presenters wetu watajibu yale maswali ambayo wameulizwa, alafu tutakuwa tuna break for lunch. Sawa? Naomba maswali, naomba hizo feedback. Moyo yote naomba unyoshe mkono, utasema tu jina lako afu utaenda straight kwenye kile ambacho umejipanga kukifanya. Karibuni. Na kama unataka kumwadress mmoja katika wale presenters, utaenda straight kusema nani unataka kumuuliza hilo swali lako. Nimeona mkono kule mwisho. Thank you for that reminder. And it is also reminding me something to do with ethics. Lawyers, tuna changamoto sana sasa hivi when it comes to ethics, integrity. So that's something we should also, while we are having this conversation, we should also keep in our mind. Because now out there, people are not, they are not so happy with us kwa sababu wanatuona somehow ni matapeli kwa namna moja au nyingine. Hiyo tukubali tukatae. Tunaonekana ni matapeli. Wanasheria bwana matapeli sana. So we should also look into this. This is also an area where we really need to have conversation around issues to do with integrity, issues to do with ethics. Another hand. There's one this side. We only have one mic, yeah? So let me see from this side how many people would wish to speak. I saw only one hand there. Is there another person this line? Then we'll go behind. There's another one somewhere behind. Karibu. Thank you very much. There's someone behind there. Sorry. Mawakili, Kiswahili pia tunaweza tukatumia, sawa? Ndio maana mimi naongea Kiswahili, sio kwamba sijui Kizungu. Tunapiga Kiswahili, tunapiga Kizungu ili ya taifa. Tumia tafadhali. Zitapatikana, secretariat watatutumia. Hii naomba tu nijibie moja kwa moja. Mkono mwingine, kuna mwingine anataka ku comment au kuuliza swali. Kuna mkono hapa mbele. Hapa mbele.
Thank you very much. You may call me probably my comment or my observation goes to the first speaker, first presenter, I think. Nasima. My comments is on the, joining partnership. This has become a very big problem with us. You see, I don't know what's the problem. The partnership doesn't belong for us. You find a person join a partnership, within 1 year, they divorce. You see, what's the problem? Yeah. And we don't have a dispute to join partnership because of financial management. You find a senior lawyer, when you join with a senior lawyer, he's the financial manager. Whatever he contributes, you have to get paid from him and whatever. And some of them, they don't know even, you might find customers, but when you come to financial management, and most of the firms, it's just from mouth to hand. Mimi kwa nafikiri yule presenter kwanza ajaribu kutuelezea vile vile kwamba hivi tunaweza tukameni vipi, kwa sababu we would like to have partnership, but the major problem, as I said, is the financial management. And when I go to the second presenter about the diversification, when we go diversification, it doesn't mean that you be the jack of all trades and master of none. That's not the issue. The issue is you have, our legal practice or our legal training is we are generalists. We don't specialize from the universities or whatnot. We specialize in the area of practice. So when you have a firm, to diversify, you might find somebody who's experienced with the commercial, the actual practice. But not just a firm with your son or your daughter, then you will say, we do the specific diversification. Diversifications ni uzoefu mbalimbali. Unakuwa na watu kama 7. That is a firm. Unakuwa nao huyu covenant career laws, huyu litigant anajua mambo ya kwenda huko Kisumu. Sasa ile ndio diversification. So it doesn't mean that you diversify yourself and then say, oh, have the diversification. No, huwezi kwa hivyo. Nafikiri that's my comments. Thank you.
Asante. Kuna swali jingine? Kuna swali pale? Kuna mwingine tena baada ya huyu? Na pale nyuma. Baada ya huyo na hapo. Ndio tutakuwa tunafunga au kuna mwingine ana swali? It doesn't matter. It's okay. Whatever that you're planning to share with us. Anybody who wish to share anything with us? Karibu.
Okay, my name is Joseph Gideon, and I'm just saying 2 questions. And this will go straight to Haley.
When you have the mic, you stand, please. Asante. Unakuja this side. Kulikuwa kuna mkono pale. Mkono kwanza. Sasa vile umepita hapa basi mpe kaka. Asante. Asante, hapa tumekumbushwa kwamba we are a noble profession. So we should keep that in our mind. Na ni Mike hapa mbele, alafu karibu utakuwa wa mwisho. Na ni Mike. Asante, naomba upeleke pale kwa Caleb, nafikiri ndio tutakuwa tumemaliza panel.
Thank you.
Asante, ninaomba wa presenter mje mkae hapa mbele ili muweze kujibu yale yaliokuwa yameulizwa kwenu. Lakini nafikiri tuko kwenye right path. Kama TLS tumekuwa tunafanya beyond law kwenye vitu vingi. Kwa mfano tumeanzisha SACCO, si ndio? Tumeenda kwenye, kuna vitu vingi ambavyo tunavifanya, CLE, japo na yenyewe ina connection tu, lakini somehow we are moving, tunajitahidi kwa namna moja au nyingine. Hata kwenye law firms zingine tunaona wanafanya vitu vingi tu. Hata diversification within law, kwa kufanya vitu vingine ambavyo na venye bado viko kwenye law lakini vina boost. Kwa naomba niwakaribishe dakika 5 mtajibu yale maswali ambayo yamekuwa addressed kwenu, lakini pia na mta conclude ili tuende lunch. Karibu sana.
Thank you. Let me start with the first question from Elizabeth. Actually, it was a comment which would perhaps emphasize from what she said. Those of you who were following my earlier presentation, I said at the end of the day, we want to achieve to be trusted legal advisors to our client. And in one of my slides, I said there are things that perhaps not very traditional to our practice, but we need to ensure we do on regular basis. And one of them was asking for feedback. Thanks to Elizabeth, she has shared with us very vivid feedback in relation to our offerings. There was another comment, and this actually came also from our moderator, which was around ethical integrity when Elizabeth raised a comment in terms of our invoicing. I also mentioned in my presentation, one of the things that most lawyers, particularly law firms, struggle is when it comes to management of financial affairs. And financial affairs, among other things, include financial hygiene. How you originate an instruction until when you raise the final invoice. This is where most of us are really struggling. It has got, okay, ethical integrity is one thing, but most important is compliance. Because whenever you raise an invoice, you are expected to justify your work. If you raise an invoice on a matter which fairly you were entitled to get less than what you have charged, that touches your integrity. And for some, and I believe most of our law firms nowadays, we have a trend of time recording, because that is our investment, time. For me, when a client calls me, much as I do not tell him or her, I immediately count how long am I going to talk to her. And if it's only casual conversation, I'll make it brief. But if he or she is asking me on technical issues, I'll try to respond, but at the end of the day, we'll explain. This may also culminate to invoicing. One way to catch is financial hygiene. From the time you originate the instruction until when you raise the invoice. Okay, before I go to the Mtarima's question, of course, this one was directed to Advocate Mbiro. Just to comment, somebody mentioned about T-shaped lawyer. I don't know whether any one of us has read the book by Peter Kana. He's an American, very experienced lawyer. He's the one who wrote the book called T-shaped lawyer. It's more than what we traditionally do as lawyers. It's more to do or breaking our traditional way of doing things as lawyers. I encourage each one of us, once and when you get time, just read it. Very interesting, particularly to the young lawyers, which again addresses the comment from the last but one speaker. Now, with respect to my good brother Mtarima question, the issue of, he used the word divorce of partnership. No one plans to fail. But the answer is we are the ones who fail to plan right from the beginning. I said when I started my presentation, strategic planning should reflect your short and long-term goal. If our marriage is intended only for a short time, I can't bother myself. I will not address all the basics that I mentioned. Those, if you remember, those 6 bullets, which I insisted when it comes to management of the law firm. If you miss any of those, you should be assured that your marriage is going to last long. It's unfortunate. Fine. There are times we try as upcoming lawyers to partner with senior lawyers. Everybody should appreciate your limitation. Senior partners are expected to have vast experience, compared to our junior lawyers. Although the last speaker said the young lawyers have been doing tremendous, which is very commendable. But when it comes to partnership, you should define your lion's share right from the beginning. It's a partnership. What is my percentage within the partnership? Who has power to do what? And then document it. Put it as your marriage certificate. As and when you want to put things asunder, you pull that and say, I'm exiting, but my contribution was this number. The message here is, no one plans to fail, but we are the ones who fail to plan appropriate to the extent that our law firms do not last longer. Saleh Nasoro, before Saleh, Joseph Godwin, as one, I think he's one of the young lawyers, he said the first speaker started from far away, management of the firm. But the question, the big ask was, how can we generate business and make money so that we can listen to you attentively on how to manage firm? The answer is very simple. You already have the resources. Recognize, appreciate the resources around you. You are learned, you are connection, you have platforms. And this is, again, I agree with the second but last speaker when he said there's a lot more that could be done in order to win business. Very positive feedback about my good friend, Advocate Mbiro. He's super active on LinkedIn. Use your own forums. If you are worshiping in a certain mosque, as and when there are any gathering, just stand up and say, can I help our mosque to draft a lease agreement? People will start to recognize you. So just use your, appreciate, first recognize and appreciate your potential, and then through your own forums, make you known. If you are sharp on technology, use LinkedIn, use Facebook, use all other social media so that people can know you. Why? Because our profession restricts us to go out and do marketing. But through your own demonstration, people come and ask you to help them on their matters. Advocate Musa, my senior brother, I think it is him, who said the issue of corruption is serious, and perhaps we did not emphasize much. Very true. Because of the limited time, I simply use the word ethical standards. And that is a very broad term. As and when you do your legal duties, it is important to do it in a very ethical manner. Of course, there are conflicting demands. On one side, you need to get money through any means, but more so, you want your client to be happy. But the big ask here is, if you use ethical means, be sure it's a time bomb. Whenever things erupt, that's when your client will walk away from you. Perhaps just a comment to the last speaker, Mr. Caleb, who was challenging us in terms of proper definition of diversification. While I agree with him, but with all due respect, I also like to differ with him slightly, because not everybody has immediate resource to do other things outside our legal profession. As a lawyer, you can run your own law firm, but also do side consultants work, which is what I think Advocate Mbiro was telling us. cattle or any other business, you can do it. But for now, use your own intellect as a lawyer, your connection, and the opportunities around you to do other things different. Just one very practical example, which is going to be my exiting remark. In our law firm, because of all compliance things to do with AML, we have developed our AML tool, which does not require a lawyer. We only registered ourselves with the financial task force, financial intelligence task force, the worldwide organization, borrowed some of the requirement, and then we prepared a tool, which now we are selling to various organization, companies, banks, insurance companies. As and when they embody anyone, you put your name, it will immediately give you red flag. This person is blacklisted. Or the type of business this person is blacklisted, get away from that person. So it has, as a lawyer, I simply took it as an opportunity, ask people who have the necessary capabilities, they developed the tool, and I'm selling to my clients. This is what I think, to me, could be done by most of us because of our legal education, but more so the current clients we have. I'm going to stop there. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful questions and for the responses also from my brother here, Dimoso, with regards to the issues that, alignment of the issues that we actually presented. The first question that I would love to address is on the issue of T-shaped lawyers and the fact that we have been told to specialize and not to diversify. I think there's a misconception to begin with. The idea of diversification does not sail away from the notion of having a practical core strength. And the essence of the presentation that I did was that build from a position of strength. A position of strength means there is, and I think I spent almost 5 minutes explaining the one thing you must have in order for you to build other things. So the idea of diversification is not, and my senior brother here, Tarimba, responded really well, it's not the idea of becoming a jack of all trade. It's the idea of building on your trade. And building on your trade, it doesn't mean you individually have to be the one that is diversifying in practical areas that could be competing against each other, because you can't stretch, you can't divide yourself. But even if you're talking at an institutional level, you have to also build from that institution's area of strength to other strength areas, but as I said, proper resource allocation, proper planning, proper people. Now, that is a question you need to have. Am I ready for diversification? Remember the introspection assessment process that we said. So if you are not at that stage, you need to go back to the building block and say, I am building myself to create a core business that will create others. So that is the idea of diversification, not necessarily to just be, to take anything that comes on your table. You have to have a plan. The other question that I needed to respond, and I love this question, is what do you advise young lawyers to do in terms of diversification? And my senior brother here, Dimoso, has already shared with regards to strategies for networking, and there was another observation with regards to what you can do, perhaps sitting certain areas, you meet certain people. But for young lawyers, I'm going to say one thing clearly. There's something we call PICOS, a picture of success. Do you individually have a picture of success for yourself? If My name is Harry Mbiro. What is my picture of success at the age 5 years from now? What is success? Because it changes. When you're graduating, the picture of success is to get a job. You hate it. My boss is this one, it doesn't pay well. So the picture of success changes. So for a young lawyer, you must have that. And basically, this is exactly what we are saying with regards to strategy and planning. You must have a plan that defines who will you be if you say that you are successful. So you need to define on a social level, on an economic level, or on professional level, what is success to you? And from that point, you can build. In project management, there's something called a critical path. When you have a picture of success here, then you can create a critical path towards that picture of success. And that critical path, you must now be doing things that are building into that picture of success, not taking off. And this is where most of us are guilty. You might say you have a picture of success, you want to be a big corporate lawyer, but every work that you're taking is involved with, let's say, human rights, criminal sessions. So you are actually doing things that are against the picture of success that you actually created. So for a young lawyer, in order for you to diversify, first, build that person that you want to be. That is the first stage. The other stage is that I will echo what has been said. Make your business card or your CV go before you do. Most of us, our CVs go there when a certain opportunity has been announced. When we see a flyer in the paper, in the LinkedIn, that's when we say, I'm applying. But you could have applied before. You know how? Use the networks. Imagine the chances that you have against a person. And by the way, I do a lot of mentorship for university students and startups. So I usually talk to them a lot about this. The fact that you don't stand a chance. Most of the time we think we are smart, but it's an individual feeling. Everybody is smart. If you just think of it, you graduated 200 of you in your class. There are others from University of Dar es Salaam, from Tumaini, from where. So basically, there's 2,000 of you who are smart who also graduated law of evidence. So you are not that special. So now, how do you narrow down the chance as a young lawyer? You need to communicate to the potential employers, to potential clients, so that you can you can shorten the distance. And with that, use networks, LinkedIn, etc. So, for example, if you are connected to the head of legal, say, of NMB Bank that have announced a job, by the time you are applying, he knows you because you've been connected there. So the chances of someone who just sent their CV here are completely below yours. Not necessarily that it's guaranteed you get the work, but at least you've shortened the distance. So for young lawyers, do that in order to diversify, because you need to first build yourself so that you can diversify. With regards to the question whether diversity means mixing with consulting, yes, and not necessarily true. So diversification is just adding to the service offering that you are doing. So it doesn't narrow to say consulting alone, no. So consulting could be. So someone in consulting could diversify to go to litigation. So that's what it means. Not one to go to, one set of lawyering to go to another, no. It's open, so it could be either way. But the second arm of that question was, how do we navigate the regulatory compliance? It's easy. Again, don't diversify until you do that process. There's a PESTO analysis I mentioned. The PESTO analysis allows you to look at the risks that are associated with a particular area you want to diversify into. And that will actually absorb you of the risks, and you can mitigate them. The best question from my brother Caleb with regards to beyond law, multidimensional legal practice. We needed to think outside the outside the box. I agree that diversification means beyond. No problem. However, what is our immediate issue first as lawyers? We have immediate issues, and truly we can diversify. And the principle is the same. What is your core strength? So the same principle with regards to diversification is that if you're a law firm, if it's enough, it's strong, then you can diversify to other areas. The principle is the same. However, the most important thing for lawyers is to diversify first in the areas that we are actually doing, where we are good at. Because the principle of diversification is a principle of proximate relationship with your core business and what we call spillovers. What spills over from what you're actually doing on a day-to-day basis so that you can avoid those big risks that are there. I would say that it's a very good question that actually requires us to think in terms of our firms, where we are. Can we diversify outside of law? And yes, we can. And perhaps I'm guilty of not having mentioned that. On a side, let's say breakthrough attorneys, I think we have 7 sister companies. And I will be happy when the time is right to share now how do we diversify outside of law, because I feel like the opportune time is not here. I feel like right now we need first to understand ourselves. We need to understand our law firms. How do we diversify within so that we can have stable income? Our law firms are struggling for that first. So to diversify outside practice is a bit, I'm not saying it's a pipe dream, but it's a bit so ambitious that we need to moderate it. However, it is something that is possible. It can be done. We have a real estate company, we have a technology company, we have a management consulting, we have a creative sector company that supports creatives. And I'm going to give an example of the creative sector company. Musicians, their work of art is all subject of legal processes, copyright, issues of domain, distributions, contracts, etc. You can build service provision on that side. So in a manner of speaking, you actually turn around the same thing that you're doing to become an offering for the public sector that is in the creative sector. Artists, painters, all those, they need certain intellectual property protection, contracts, online. Now we have NFTs in the blockchain. It's a stream of services that can be done. However, I believe first we need to build ourselves strongly, and then we can actually slowly diversify within the law, and then we go outside. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, our presenters. We do appreciate, your sharing, and we appreciate the knowledge that we have gained this afternoon. So now we break for lunch, but I must admit, it is nice that we changed the timetable. We are going to have the wellness and health in the afternoon after we have had our lunch. Imagine, tungekuwa tunaenda kula lunch, tumetoka kumsikiliza huyo nani? Mtu alishe. Hivi unaelewa? Unaenda kula lunch huku unajiuliza mara mbili hivi kweli nile hiki. Bora tunaenda kula lunch kabla hawajafanya hiyo presentation. Tutaanza kujifikiria mambo mengine wakati wa dinner na kuendelea. So karibuni for lunch. Lunch is served where we had our breakfast. We are going to break for 1 hour. Can we do 45 minutes for lunch? Nyie session inayofuata ni tamu, hamtaki tu kuelewa. Mtakaweza baada ya dakika 45 turudi ili saa 8 na dakika 10 tuanze. Sawa ndugu zanguni? Tutaanza saa 8 na dakika 10. Koponi ziko mlangoni mchukue, lakini pia wewe ukishamaliza kula mapema, unaweza ukaenda pale kwenye booth ya Assemble, ukauliza maswali, ukapata na maswala mbalimbali ya kiafya. Ni muhimu. Kwa hiyo naomba mpite pia pale.